The film begins with the opening credits conveying a group of tiny spermatozoa swimming through a canal and creating a tiny Chucky zygote. Next, we get a first-person perspective of a doll given to a little girl named Claudia. She doesn't like the doll at all and throws it back into the box. That night, the doll comes to life and grabs a knife, and heads upstairs, where he meets Richard, Claudia's father. The doll stabs Richard in the chest and knocks him over the upstairs balustrade. The doll continues to roam the house and enters the bathroom, where it finds a woman taking a shower. It approaches but drops the knife. Nevertheless, the woman gets frightened, falls out of the tub, cracks her head, and dies. The doll looks for its third victim, Claudia, but when he finally finds her, he only manages to piss himself while she scolds him. When he wakes up, he discovers that it was all a dream and that he is just a puppet forced to perform in a play. Although he is only a puppet, the doll, named Shitface, realizes he is alive. He knows he is Japanese, has violent dreams that he cannot explain, and wishes he knew where his parents were. The scene cuts to a guy dressed as Santa Claus who drops the gifts from his sack. He finds Chucky sitting by a tombstone, and soon after, Tiffany comes up behind him and starts strangling him. Chucky cuts off his fake stomach and rips off his beard. It turns out that Chucky is broken, and this is a movie set. Actress Jennifer, who plays the role of Tiffany, complains that she can no longer get good roles, so her assistant informs her that there is a casting call looking for someone to play the Virgin Mary. Jennifer is excited and decides to seize the opportunity. Shitface sees a television broadcast about Chucky's movie, and the doll notices that he has the same Made in Japan stamp on his wrist. Convinced he has found his parents, Shitface escapes from the cage forever. Shitface crosses the Atlantic and lands in Hollywood to search for his parents. Meanwhile, Jennifer has arrived for auditions. The director stares at her chest, and she takes advantage and invites him to her home in an attempt to secure the role. Shitface enters the makeup department and finds the lifeless Chucky and Tiffany. He pulls out the heart of Damballa and pronounces the spell that reanimates Chucky and Tiffany. Chucky laughs at Shitface's name and makes fun of his appearance. Chucky and Tiffany see the Made in Japan stamp and realize that Shitface is really their son. Soon after, the set's puppeteer enters to repair Chucky and Tiffany because of the previous malfunction. When he removes the battery cover from Tiffany, he finds bloody organs inside. Chucky throws a wire around his neck, and then together with Tiffany, they decapitate him. While Chucky and Tiffany are excited by the killing, Shitface is upset and ends up peeing himself again. Jennifer sneaks into the store to get a candy bar that she had hidden in Chucky's overalls. After that, she starts playing with Tony's head, thinking it is just an object for the film. Eventually, she realizes that the head is real, and after the police rush to the scene, a media frenzy breaks out with reporters, including Pete Peters, attacking her and asking if she was involved in the murder. Jennifer is just trying to get to her limo and driver, Stan. The dolls hitch a ride in the back of the limo, sitting somehow unnoticed, while Jennifer gets in the front with Stan. They hatch a plan to transfer Tiffany's soul into Jennifer Tilly's body and Chucky's soul into Redmond's. They also promise their son, now going by the name Glenn, that they will find a body for him as well. The dolls find a new home in Jennifer's attic, and as Chucky and Tiffany put Glenn to sleep, he asks why they kill. He asks them to stop, but Chucky replies with a dad joke. Tiffany reflects on what Glenn just said and tells Chucky that they have an addiction to murder and need to stop now. She says that they need to be an example for their son. Chucky agrees but keeps his fingers crossed behind his back, assuring us that many more people will be killed. Jennifer is planning her evening with Redmond, although her friend, Joan, is super against it, as she finds it really degrading to get the role this way. Jennifer is so offended that she fires Joan for her judgmental attitude. Upstairs, Tiffany tells Chucky that he needs to fill a cup with his juices. In the meantime, reporter Pete Peters sneaks onto the property to take pictures of Redmond having fun with Jennifer. Pete sees Chucky having a fun time. He also sees Redmond aggressively move on Jennifer, after which Tiffany knocks him out. Tiffany scares Jennifer to death. The woman immediately runs into Chucky, who asks what to do with his baby batter. Jennifer tries to escape, but Tiffany throws something at her head and knocks her unconscious. The dolls put Redmond and Jennifer on the bed and Tiffany gets to work with a bowl full of Chucky's Yum Yum juice. Chucky notices Pete Peters leaving, so he wakes Glenn to take him on a boys' night out. Together they drive a car, which is quite strange. Even stranger is that they are overtaken by a driver who turns out to be none other than Britney Spears. Chucky accelerates and pushes her off the road, causing her to plunge into a ditch and explode. We then see Pete, who is working on photos taken this evening, and Chucky appears behind him. At first, he thinks it is just a puppet and doesn't even wonder how it appeared there. Until he discovers that it is the same puppet he took a picture of at Jennifer's house. In an instant, Chucky disappears and heads for the ceiling. But before he can land and kill Pete, Glenn yells at him to stop. Pete is so startled that he runs into a chemical shelf. The jar of sulfuric acid falls from there and crashes on his head, melting his face. Eventually, Chucky poses for a victory photo with Pete's corpse and a very dejected Glenn. Jennifer and Redmond wake up with no recollection of the previous night, although she vaguely remembers the doll's visit. In the attic, Tiffany is really trying to give up her addiction to killing, going so far as to call the widow of an agent whom Chucky killed. In the process, Chucky mentions to Glenn some sketchy plans for the day. Night comes, and Jennifer tells Redmond she is pregnant during dinner. He congratulates her, but the baby cannot be his because he has had a vasectomy. However, he tells her that she can no longer be the Virgin Mary if she is pregnant, infuriating Tiffany, who listens through the vent. She calls an addiction hotline, and the operator essentially tells her that it's okay to make a mistake sometimes. Tiffany interprets it as a green light to go kill Redmond while Jennifer is in the other room on the phone. She crawls underneath him and stabs him in the groin, completely eviscerating him under the table and leaving his organs on the floor. Glenn witnesses the murder and is disturbed by it. The next morning, Tiffany tells Chucky that the pregnancy has accelerated. In fact, Jennifer appears to be in her 5th month of pregnancy. She calls Joan, and there is a freaky 3-way phone conversation in which Joan keeps confusing Tiffany's voice with Jennifer Tilly's. Chucky attacks Tilly, and when Joan says she heard Jennifer scream, Tiffany covers it up. Chucky ties her to the bed and gags her, dropping his victory picture, which angers Tiffany because she wants them to stop killing. They then argue about Glenn's gender until he interjects his opinion, saying that sometimes he feels like a boy and sometimes he feels like a girl. Glenn also specifies that no matter what, he doesn't want to be a killer, shocking Chucky, who launches into a rant about how he loves being a killer. This ends with him revealing Redmond's body in the closet. As Glenn squirms, even more, Chucky points out that Redmond was supposed to be his body, so Tiffany picks up the phone to call Stan and tell him to come. Before Chucky and Tiffany can get to work, they are interrupted by Joan coming to check on Jennifer, who is worried about the phone call earlier. She enters the room and thinks she is having fun with Stan. Chucky looks ready to kill her but instead sets her on fire with a lighter and some hairspray, which causes her to stumble back and step over the balustrade. Chucky comforts the crying killer doll he thinks is Tiffany, and tries to make her feel better. In any case, it turns out that the doll was not Tiffany, but Glenn, who becomes manic. Tiffany slaps him, and Glenn starts to really cry. Jennifer gives birth to a rather normal-looking baby, then starts pushing again, this time giving birth to a girl. After everything is settled, Chucky begins the spell. Tiffany interrupts him because Glenn hasn't yet chosen which body he wants to inhabit. They are still not sure if it is a split personality or 2 souls in one body. They have little time to think about it before the police arrive and everyone starts screaming at the top of their lungs. Chucky is overwhelmed and tells everyone to stop. He says he stopped trying to be a human being because aging and death suck. He is also quite happy to be known as the famous killer doll. Tiffany, however, doesn't go for it. She says she still wants to be human and breaks up with Chucky just then. Chucky is so furious that he tries to throw a knife at her, which Stan catches in the chest. Tiffany knocks Chucky out with a knife, and some policemen burst in, finding only Jennifer Tilly still alive. In the hospital, she discovers that she has been found innocent of the murders but may be deemed unfit to be a parent. The dolls sneak into her room and drug her IV to knock her unconscious. Chucky goes to find them with an axe through the door. Tiffany works with the spell and tries to exchange her soul for Jennifer Tilly's. Just as she finishes, however, Chucky hits her with an axe to the head, saying no one can leave him. Tiffany collapses on the hospital floor and dies, her last words warning Glenn not to make the same mistakes she and Chucky made. Glenn gets angry and attacks Chucky. Jennifer Tilly hands him the axe, and he lashes out at Chucky, cutting off every single limb. Chucky tells Glenn he is proud of him and his violence. With one last axe blow, Chucky is decapitated. Jennifer Tilly comforts Glenn, and a shot of the amulet fades to black, just in time for the epilogue. We jump 5 years into the future to a backyard. A nanny named Fulvia complains to Jennifer Tilly that Glenda is a very bad girl. Fulvia quits her job, infuriating Jennifer enough to knock her out with Tiffany's doll and beat her to death. Jennifer's eyes turned green, so Tiffany's body change worked. Glenn does a voiceover revealing that he is in the body of this weird looking reddish guy. He gets a big box as a birthday present, and inside is Chucky's severed arm, which triggers Glenn to pee his pants and twitch his little eye. Finally, the arm grabs him, and the movie ends. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.